Hello and welcome to a little bonus episode of Search With Candour. I am your host, as always, Jack Chambers-Ward, and I'm joined by Mark Williams-Cook.
The bonus.
We are the bonus. That
Okay.
made it sound worse than it needed to. We're doing a little extra episode, not a bonus episode, an extra episode before Brighton SEO. We're going to basically give you some recommendations for talks. This went somewhat well, somewhat not so well last time, depending on which talks you attended, based on our recommendations.
Yeah. Titles can be misleading.
Indeed. If you know, you know. But before we get to recommending Brighton SEO talks, we're going to get 5 each. I want to catch up with you, Mark. How have you been? I know you're recently back from Search and Stuff in Antalya, which sounded like a pretty awesome conference.
That was my favourite conference of 2025.
Nice.
It
It was of 2024 as well, I think, wasn't it?
it was, yeah. So Yamar, Begum, Bengu, the team have done such a good job there. They've brought... What's really special about it is not only do you get really good speakers, because you get them at lots of conferences.
Yeah, sure.
And the venue's really great and stuff, and again, you can have that, is they've genuinely built one of the nicest search communities that, in my opinion, kind of exists. Because there's quite a few little search communities that exist already, but very few actually have attached events and conferences. Probably the only exception to that is Women in Tech SEO.
Of course, WTS, yeah.
That's all hearsay for me, because I've never been there. You know, don't let me there. So... Although actually I can go to the drinks meetup this time, because Also Asked we've been a sponsor for a while, partner,
Okay, nice.
and they're letting partners in now. So
Nice.
maybe I will get to see it in the reels.
I think that happens as well if you are a sponsor of the conference. You can also...
Exactly.
I know Patrick from Sitebob has been there and said it was amazing. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a really nice experience for that, because it's just kind of like seeing a lot of my actual friends, as well as kind of work conferencey stuff as well. Yeah.
In a 5-star inclusive, lovely part of Turkey.
That didn't hurt.
That helps.
Yeah, that helped. That helped.
What else have you been up to recently? I know we've had some new clients onboarded recently. It's been busy time at Candour.
Busy.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm working on a few things at the moment. So
Top secret things?
not top secret. So internally, we're working on some new tooling with Tom.
Yeah.
Very bright member of our team. He's been bringing to life some of the workflows that I've been doing in some of these talks that I've researched, and that's kind of part of his development is helping build them. And we are rebuilding the front end of Also Asked, and we've worked with some really great, and I know you know, but you don't know yet, really great people in the SEO community have contributed really detailed guides on how they're using the data and the results they're getting. And we've had like an independent study of how Also Asked data correlates with search ranking, which I was really excited about seeing, and very happy that there was actually some very good correlation, which I was like, whew.
Yeah.
Wasn't surprising, but it was delighting to see
definitely.
that. So that's going to be exciting and hopefully helpful to people when it's out. But yeah, apart from that, we've got Brighton SEO left, and I had to pull out of the SEMrush spotlight because there's some other personal commitments. But then because they were based on our health system, they've changed, of course. So actually, I might go to Spotlight now just as a watcher.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, I know you mentioned a little tease of some Also Asked content coming up. I've already recorded episode 1. I will tease you guys now. The returning Chris Green,
Yes.
who's been on the show, I think, more than anyone else now, apart from you and me.
Really?
At this point, yeah.
I did not know that.
Well, he's certainly in the talks of like the most hosted guest. And yeah, we're going to basically do a whole series of its case studies and research and really interesting things using Also Asked data. And Chris and I had a good sort of 40-minute conversation breaking down, going through his methodology, what he would change, what he thinks the results mean in terms of, like you said, like, oh, there is some correlation, but does that work with this? And does that mean this? Should you, throw your strategy out of the window and start doing this, or all that kind of stuff? It's a really interesting conversation. And basically the plan is to do a whole series of those to accompany each of those case studies and each of those articles, to then have it as kind of a video guide and a bit more of an in-depth conversation as well. So that's going to be coming out over the next sort of few months or so, pretty much, right?
Chris is such a deep thinker.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm blessed that he will occasionally just text me something he's been thinking about or working on. And it's like having digital fortune cookies of SEO. Because he'll just drop into my texts like random. That's what I like about Chris. Well, there's no general like intro. He'll just like send me, oh, this is interesting, and it's normally something that it's like, oh, that I would have had to attended a whole talk normally to get that much insight. So that's really cool, and I'm grateful he does that. He does that with us.
Absolutely. I love
What about
Chris.
you? Because you are on the main stage of Brighton next week.
Yeah.
All prepared already to
Yeah,
talk about
done some
zero
run-throughs.
clicks?
I am officially, like, slides are submitted,
I'm pleased you've
confirmed
done
and
some
stuff,
run-throughs. I'd be quite
yeah.
nervous if you were like, no, I haven't actually run through it yet. Just
No, of
think
course,
it'll
yeah.
probably be okay on the day.
I don't have any speaker notes.
Good.
So
They're for cowards.
Yeah, I agree. The bonus is, I think that, like, I talk for a living, basically. This is kind of my thing. So the talking part is not the bit I was worried about. It was fine tweaking those slides. And shout out to the other Mark here, Mark Salisbury, one of our designers, and Annette, one of our other designers as well, who did some brilliant work, like making it look much better than I did. I fudged together some stuff on Canva and screenshotted some things from Spotify and whatever else. It was like, yeah, could you make this look nice, please? And now it all looks really lovely.
Designers love getting good briefs like that.
Yeah,
Can you make it look nice?
Hey, I gave them the original data. It wasn't just like turn this thing into this thing. Here is the actual data so you can make a graph from scratch kind of thing. I was very nice in my briefs. But yeah, it was nice to get the feedback from a few colleagues who have had a look at the slides as well. I did a presentation in front of the Candour crew on one of our lunchtime calls as well.
That,
yeah, that was very fun, and good feedback from you as well. And it was nice when I submitted it. I then spoke to Andrea from the Brighton team. I was like, "Wow, these have come a long way, haven't they?" And like a big thumbs up. I was like, "I'll take that." So,
Andrea sees a lot of slides.
Oh yeah. I know there's a big conversation to include or not to include an intro slide. Of like, hi, I'm Jack, I work at this place and I do this thing. And as a person who was moderated and who was going to be moderating again, that's kind of what the moderator does. It's like, Jack is a marketing and partnerships manager at Candour and he's worked there for da-da-da, he's worked in SEO for this long and da-da-da. And then 30 seconds later, hi, I'm Jack, I'm the marketing and partnerships manager at Candour. I've worked here for 4 years. Like, that's the same information. Just like, let the moderators do their job. Nice. You don't need to introduce yourself.
Nice.
That kind of thing.
It eats into your time as well.
You've
only got 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And like, in fairness, normally I don't care who you are. I just want to hear what you've got to say.
That's also the thing.
And if what you say is really good, then I'll find out who you are.
Exactly. That's what I have right at the end. It's like, you can follow me, check out Search With Candour, subscribe to core updates kind of thing. Like, if you thought this was interesting, you can follow me. Like, who cares who I am?
If you didn't, clap.
Yeah. Exactly. Should we get into some talks then?
Yeah. Do we do 1-1?
Yeah, will you go back and forth?
Yeah.
I'll let you go first.
Thank you. Very kind.
I might mine in chronological order. But,
so there were actually lots of talks that I'm interested in based on the titles, and I think Brighton SEO has done it, or the team has done a good job as well of mixing up the topics and curating here. Because I know we had a pre-chat where you said, I think they got a lot of AI.
Yeah, so that was feedback on one of the emails on one of the calls, like get a bunch of speakers together on a Google Meet type thing. And Andrea, who's the main speaker liaison there, was like, everybody needs to stop starting every single talk with, so the state of search, AI has really changed what SEO means in 2025.
No.
Like, have you heard of AI mode or Chat GPT? Like, every single talk starts with like 10 slides.
On that note, the first talk I'm recommending is called AI is Dead.
Uh-oh.
For digital PR. Long live the humans.
Nice.
It's by Tom Rawle, who's director at Pressbox PR. I'm going to read out the little excerpt
I've
from
got the
it.
same thing for my talks as well.
Tom will delve.
Is he deep diving?
Yeah. Tom will delve into why relying on AI when it comes to digital PR and organic link building could be the quickest way to fail. He'll explain how publishers are adopting AI and how Google is reading content in a world where we are starting to automate everything, celebrating the reasons why having a human touch can be really fruitful in our endeavors to move up the SERPs. Why I'm recommending this one is, I think, firstly, digital PR is more important than ever now in terms of getting coverage, getting visibility in LLMs. Hand in hand, the irony of it's more important because of AI, I think it's harder because, firstly, we have now fewer journalists because of AI. They are losing jobs.
Yep.
And also they are being completely bombarded with a lot of pitch requests because of AI, which we've seen the cases where it's been completely made up people. So
all the fake author pages and
exactly.
stuff. And all that kind of stuff.
So I think it's interesting, hopefully, if Tom's got some insight, because it's something we focus on, is how to build the actual human. Like, this isn't an AI press release. This isn't an AI person. This is a real person, because I think that's going to be important. Because where you can't tell necessarily in the first instance, or it's a lot of work, is this an AI pitch or a real one? My feeling is the way journalists will deal with that is to fall back on the human connection of people they trust. So it's like, oh, Jack's emailed me 6 times over the last 6 months and it's all been good and it's worked. So if I get an email from Jack, that's automatically.
I always use an example. I remember speaking to the PR team here on a client I used to work on, and we had sent a few things over, and they basically wanted like first dibs on stuff from now on, because we'd been so good with, I think, 3 or 4 articles in a row. They're like, if you have any more research, any more data, let us know straight away. We'd be interested. It's like, that's the kind of thing that really, it's old school marketing, right? That's word of mouth, that's relationships, that's building that rapport and stuff like that. Like you said,
everything
not
circular,
being clogged up in the inbox and stuff. Like, I think that makes a big difference. And funny enough, I moderated Katie from Pressbox PR last time. And that was interesting to talk about newsjacking and stuff, and how that's shifted and how it still works and stuff like that. So, very, very cool.
Who's your first pick?
I'll kick things off with somebody who was a guest on the show a couple of years ago now, who I bumped into completely out of the blue in April earlier this year. John Iwuozor is going to do vector embedding for everyday marketers. And I know this is something John has been really, really great at, kind of breaking down a lot of the studies that people have been doing about how LLMs work and all that kind of stuff. I know there's been sort of like LLM playbooks and all that kind of stuff, and John goes in and actually does his own research and does really cool things. Nice. I know he's been a really active member of FCDC as well, and is just a super cool guy, super interesting, really good chess player as well. Like, really good chess player, scarily good chess player. Because somebody did a talk about chess at Brighton in April, and I joked to him about it, and he was like, "Oh no, I'm like 2,100 or something." I was like, what? He was like, I can't remember the exact number, but it was high. It was like a couple of ranks below Grandmaster type shit. I was like, okay, I'm not just going to randomly play chess with you, John. That's fine. I was like, I quite like chess. I'll be fine. Like, no, that's terrifying. Anyway, John's talk, I'll read a little excerpt here. It's in the Skyline stage on Thursday at 11:10 as part of the content optimization sessions. In this talk, John will explore how vector embeddings are changing what it means to optimize in the age of AI-powered search. He'll explain what SEOs need to know about this shift, then share hands-on techniques for use cases like semantic content analysis, smarter internal linking and clustering using OpenAI models, and simple Python workflows.
Love it.
Very interesting stuff.
I'm going to change the order now of the people I was going to do because of chess. So the other talk I had flagged was what AI knows about your brand and what you can do about it.
Nice.
By Dixon Jones, who I'm sure lots of people know from X Majestic in links, and his new tool YK, which is what AI knows about you.io. Dixon is a very keen chess player, so maybe Brighton SEO match there.
Yeah, Dixon and John.
Yeah, by the sounds of how good John's at, I think we're just going to be able to do we'll be able to do a TikTok reel. It'll be over that quickly. Because I think Dixon's good, but like 2,000.
I might be exaggerating. I don't remember.
Okay, because that's
2,500 is like Grandmaster level.
Yeah, that's.
Like,
yeah, okay. Wow.
I might be exaggerating. Sorry, John, if I've added like 500 to your rank.
We're going to have all these chess heavyweights turn up and be like, what? So Dixon's talk, I'll read the excerpt. In the AI mode era with ChatGPT, Claude and many others being used as proxies for traditional search, there is just as much chance that your content will only ever be directly read by machines. This is not a threat for SEOs, but a massive opportunity. Learn how to track what AI knows about your brand in all major LLMs and find practical, actionable strategies for improving your brand presence in these AI-generated answers. Why I am recommending Dixon's talk is, and this is an unpopular opinion, that I don't think tracking prompts in LLMs and who's visible for those is particularly worthwhile.
Yep.
Just in terms of how often they change the exact prompts people use, personalization, how often they change, whole range of reasons. What I think YK does well, and what Dixon will hopefully be talking about, is the next stage of, if we're in this agentic AI recommended world, understanding what the model thinks about your brand and products. Does it know they come in these sizes, that it's made from this material? Does it know what your brand stands for? Is the new what people think about you?
Yeah.
What robots think about you is like the next leap. And I think that's because we use YK internally, what it's really good for. So in terms of how do we approach AI, that to me, having thought about this now for a couple of years, I guess, is where I'm starting to circle around. And I think he's got that right. That's where to put your effort. So that's one I would recommend. And Dixon has been in the search industry for a long time, and is quite one of those humble people.
Oh, definitely.
That he's super friendly, chat to him, and then when you get into the nitty gritty, is it again one of those people who are like, oh wow, you know a lot, and I do not know that much.
Yeah, definitely. I think you brought it up in one of your recent talks as the Candour getting confused with the Candour recruitment agency,
Exactly.
right? So it looks like we're getting bad reviews or whatever, and it's like, okay, it's Candour agency in Norwich, but it's not exactly Candour agency in Norwich. And it's little things like that obviously we've talked so much about, reputation management, and like you said, what people know about you compared to what the LLMs are actually pulling out is a really interesting thing. And I was having a conversation with somebody the other day who was like, should we be tracking prompts and stuff? I'm like, no, that seems mad, because it's so personalized and so expensive to do that. Yeah, exactly. I think they had an inquiry from an agency to offer to do that for them. And I was like, that is going to be a waste of your time. Just focus on your brand. Absolutely. Speaking of that, I'm going to go out of order as well. In the same sessions, in the same track, shout out to the episode of coming out in a couple of days on Monday, Yordan Dimitrov.
Woo-woo! One of my
Yordan.
favourite people in SEO.
Same.
Go to his talk.
Same.
Solid chat.
Yordan is an absolute delight, and we have been on a similar sort of journey of applying to speak at Brighton SEO, and we found out we were going to speak at about the same time, and also found out we're both in auditorium one at about the same time. So we've been kind of freaking out and very excited. And yeah, Yordan is amazing. Like you said, one of my favorite people I've met through SEO as well. And Yordan's talk is about brand and AI. It's called Forget SEO versus AI, Build a Brand People Trust or Get Left Behind. And I know Yordan has done this talk a couple of times now and kind of fine-tuned and tweaked and polished it and stuff like that. And it's a really interesting thing to, like I said, kind of get into the brand side of things. That's been such a buzzword throughout the podcast and the industry for the whole year, it feels like. Quick little description of Yordan's talk here is, as generative AI continues to change how users interact with search, it is becoming increasingly difficult for brands to drive organic traffic. Zero-click. Interesting. The growth of zero-click searches, hello Yordan, means that users often find what they need without visiting a website, limiting traditional opportunities for engagement. In this session, Yordan will explore how SEOs and businesses can leverage brand authority to stay visible and competitive in the new era of AI overviews taking over Google's SERP. That ties quite nicely into my talk as well. I once had a bit in my talk that was, I think we talked about this previously, that was measuring visibility and stuff like that. I'm like, that's a whole other talk that I can't do in 5 slides. I was like, anyway, you should probably do this. Next slide.
Yeah, I've had that
I
a
will
few
leave
times
that to you.
when you start putting a talk together and then you suddenly realise you've put your foot into a whole other topic, and you're like, how can I say what I need to say and then gracefully reverse out of this topic at top speed? Right?
Yeah. I think I'm going to say stay tuned for in an hour's time when Yordan's on this stage.
Plugging him. Nice.
Yeah, that'll be the visibility you want to know about.
I haven't got, by the way, your talk in my recommendations here, just because I felt it was a bit almost a nepotism. But obviously, go and see Jack. If you want to say hi to me, I will be in the front row for Jack and Yordan's talk
with signs, thumbs up, thumbs down,
one of those foam hands, and a foghorn,
and
a t-shirt cannon.
You fire a t-shirt cannon back at Kelvin.
Yeah. That would be a really great prank if we
very
could dish
meta.
out 100 t-shirt cannons, and when he does it, I could get all the sponsors on board.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, right, back on track. Actually, another guest of the podcast before your time, I believe, was Luke Carthy.
Oh yeah.
So I did an episode with Luke, super smart guy. So actually, it's one of the few, because I did 100 odd episodes. It's one of the few that actually like stuck in my head and I remembered it. So I talked to him on the podcast at the time around e-commerce and optimization through internal search, and it was like COVID-y times, and he was showing how, I think it was the Boots website, like if you search for kind of like COVID medicines, or I think it was coronavirus, everyone called it at the time, it would come up with nothing.
Right.
So they could make new categories to put things that might help in there. So really, really smart in terms of e-com. So Luke is doing a talk called Last Click Attribution is Broken and It's Hurting SEO. And the talk description is, we've obsessed over last click attribution for decades with the ever increasing data compliance pressures, tech giants limiting the data we collect, and with the ever increasing complexity of the internet, last click attribution just isn't reliable data anymore. This also has a huge impact on how we measure and attribute SEO performance. Many of us could actually be underreporting our SEO numbers. In this session, Luke will talk about how we can look at attribution differently and the tech we can use to get a clearer picture of real attribution data for SEO paid and other key channels. Why I'm recommending that talk is, especially with Waves at AI stuff, attribution, I think, is one of the hardest questions I get asked around how do we attribute this, and especially when it's like, oh yeah, they looked on ChatGPT, compared some stuff, heard about our brand, then did a branded search, and then came to our site. And how do you attribute that? Like, it's hard, right? So I'm really interested to hear kind of Luke's updated thoughts on what options are, what tech there is to do that, because as he rightly says, with cookie compliance, with various privacy laws, PII stuff, it's become harder and harder. And I don't know if the answer is always just wipe your hands of it all. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to seeing.
Funnily enough, I saw that talk at MozCon in August.
Way.
Yeah. Luke was there. Really, really good talk.
Am I right to recommend it?
Yes,
was good.
It was really good.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen Luke speak a couple of times. He's like one of the most engaging speakers as well, which was super funny, super charismatic, and had some really interesting things. I know aforementioned Tom, colleague here at Candour, sat next to him and we were both like taking notes of like, okay, should we use that attribution model, that thing, like rethink about it this way, like first click and last click, all blended models that GA4 does and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, definitely good talk. And speaking of MozCon, somebody else who I saw speak at MozCon is my next recommendation, Mr. Tom Capper, who is always super duper smart and very interesting, and always has interesting data and insights to bring to the table. I know we talked a lot about Tom's article a little while ago and really kind of got into a lot of how everything is working from his perspective, like AIOs in SERPs and all that kind of stuff, which is exactly what Tom's talk here is about. It's called Measuring AIO Impact. Was anyone clicking anyway? So it's an interesting thing. I really like Tom's kind of dry sense of humor as well, that goes with this kind of element of, sure, AIOs are affecting the SERPs, but are you actually affected by this if you're not like basically position one? Like, it makes a huge difference. Tom will talk through the latest AIO data and an actionable framework for assessing the impact of AIOs on your traffic using Google Search Console, rank tracking, and a trick GA4 setup. Impact tends to vary hugely from one vertical to the next, even one keyword to the next, especially as in so many cases, AIOs have surfaced on what were already zero-click SERPs. So does it really matter or not? And
I always manage to embarrass myself talking to Tom just because he is so smart. Like, I'll be like, oh yeah, I've got this thought and this thing. And he's like, yeah, it's really interesting. I think this. And then he's like, oh yes, but also this critical flaw because you're an idiot. It's like,
I did the exact same thing.
Oh yeah.
When we went to the meetup hosted by Bazoom in London, and was chatting to Tom and had that exact moment of like, oh yeah, we could do this thing. And it's like, well, not if you do that first. And like, yeah, good point, Tom. Yeah. I'll go and stand in the corner quietly.
Yeah,
it's fine.
smart guy.
Yeah. We did enjoy old fashions together, though, so that was good.
Did it improve the quality of the conversation?
For me, it did, yeah. Maybe not for him.
Okay. So I have a slightly mysterious next recommendation, which is called How Google's Search Index Works.
Interesting.
Did you see this one?
No, I've not.
So this is by a chap called Gent, who I know
He's
kind
been
of
on the podcast.
through LinkedIn mainly.
Yep.
Had some chats with him. Smart guy. The description is simply this. Adam will talk about how Google Search Index works based on monitoring index data at scale across millions of pages. Attendees will gain a better understanding of how to action the data in the page indexing report and URL inspection tool in Google Search Console. So Adam has been doing that a lot for me anyway on LinkedIn, posting things from Indexing Insight and talking about how Google's indexing crawling pages. And it is I find this really interesting because there's several layers of complexity between how Google is working and what things are called even in Search Console. So, for example, it's fairly well known you can have a URL in Search Console that says Google's not indexed this page, but you can make Google show that URL in the actual SERP results.
Yep.
And it's like, well, it said it's not indexed, but I can see it here. And there's always questions around, well, it's crawled but not indexed. Why is this? What do I do? And for me, some of the most valuable information you can get from talks is, rather than always, here is an actionable thing to do, I think it's really worthwhile, especially when they're bringing data to the table, to say, okay, well, this is what we know, this is this data, so we think it's working like this. Because that was essentially what I based my last year's talk on in terms of building that conceptual knowledge of how things are working, because that's the foundation for you to make your own decisions and maybe do smart things that other people aren't doing, because that asymmetry is really important. You know, if everyone's just doing the same tactics, then nobody actually has an advantage. It's just who can do the mostest of them with the biggest budget, right? Whereas if you figure out, okay, well, this is how this indexing priority is working, like how we discovered putting pages in lots of small sitemaps speeds up indexing, things like this, you can get the advantage. So I'm actually really interested to see what Adam's going to bring, because it's only a 2-sentence description of his talk. So I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I had Adam on the show 2 years ago now, something like that. And Adam was one of the first people to come up to me at Brighton and say, "Are you the guy from that podcast?" And I was like, "Oh, yes, hello, I am." And yeah, Adam runs Indexing Insight, like you mentioned, and he's been working with the URL inspection API and doing a lot of tests and getting a lot of data from that stuff. And he's been talking about that a lot recently and has been building like sort of like secondary monitoring tool to understand how things are getting indexed and stuff. So that's obviously where he's coming from. And I've seen he's been building that for a while. Quite a few people signed up for the beta. I think it was mid last year, something like that, last 18 months or so. So yeah, I bet he's got some really cool, interesting data. And Adam's always a good guy to have a catch up and a chat with as well. I will go for some multimodal fun stuff.
All right.
Of course, regular on the show, Myriam Jessier.
Yeah.
A last-minute addition to Brighton SEO, funnily enough, literally on like a week's notice, from what I understand.
The cherry on top.
Exactly. Myriam's one of my favourite speakers, one of my favourite people in SEO, the regular addition to the Halloween episodes every single year, which we enjoy every single time. And yeah, this is something I think might be the thing I've brought up to other people outside of SEO from conversation on the podcast this year, particularly that episode I did with Jono, the aforementioned Chris Green, Dawn Anderson, and Myriam Jessier, which is just like...
What a squad. It's the Avengers of SEO.
I literally called them that on the episode, yeah. I assembled the SEO Avengers to argue about Google and AI, basically. And Miriam's example talking about how now with Lens and how they're introducing visual search more into AI mode and how that live search is now a thing in Google. The real world is also part of your marketing in a way that you don't think of. And I won't spoil Myriam's talk. I know there is a slide in there, but they were talking about how literally the contrast of text on your packaging can be the difference between somebody buying it and not buying it. Because if you can't translate it, or Google can't read it, or whatever, you're out of luck. That's simple as that. And it's this weird thing of, I even brought it up talking to Elliot, one of the account managers here at Candour, and I was like, wait a minute, does that mean we have to, like, the world needs to be optimized for Google as well? I'm like, yeah, it's SEO in the real world, man. We got to do this.
Accessibility.
Yeah, it's like reverse matrix. It's all gone crazy. So yeah, this is Myriam's talk, Making All Content Machine Readable, GEO Beyond Text Optimization. And to give you a quick little summary here, generative search doesn't just read text, it segments media through chunking, extracts text from visuals via OCR, and builds a structured understanding of your brand through videos, audio, images, and even your product packaging. Making every content type machine accessible means ensuring AI systems can accurately parse, understand, and surface your brand across all search modalities, be it a podcast, hello, TikTok video, or a product photo. This session covers machine readability best practices, OCR-friendly design principles, video tips to improve LLM ingestion, and visual knowledge graph construction. And Myriam is super duper smart, and I feel is always having ideas that are like the cutting edge of stuff, and then suddenly we'll be like, yeah, I've been thinking about that for 3 years. I'm like, oh, okay. Kind of like we were saying with Dixon earlier, right? Or Chris, where you're saying like, I just had this really great idea. It's like, yeah, I did that 5 years ago. I'm like, oh, okay, good. Like, yeah, somebody else smart has already done that. So yeah, and Myriam's talk a few years ago, I have shared many times about ADHD and SEO was brilliant as well. And yeah, always enjoy seeing Myriam speak.
When I speak to Myriam, it's like the query fan out of thoughts.
They're going to love that.
When you speak to Myriam about SEO, it's just like, and the thing I like as well, talking to Myriam about SEO, is Myriam's completely capable of having 3 conversations at the same time with me in parallel about maybe different things
across different platforms,
or even the same platform, and we're just doing a text reply to that thread of one conversation, because Myriam just fans out with the ideas. My final recommendation is Mr. Will Kennard.
Oh, nice. Good old Will.
Who, good old Kenny, is talking everything you need to know about React server components.
Interesting. Okay,
Niche.
Cool. Yeah.
Niche.
Yeah.
So Will's talk...
Didn't have the word AI in it.
I know, right? Will's talk is aimed at all levels of technical SEO from beginner to advanced, and covers React server components, RSCs, on a conceptual and practical level. It will cover how this technology actually works, why it was created, what problems it solves, and ultimately how rendering React components server-side by default could impact the way sites get seen and indexed by Google and AI, search crawlers. React, super widespread, popular technology, always crops up somewhere with kind of the various clients we've been working with, always comes up in questions people ask on technical SEO. Very few people specifically dive into frameworks like this. So I think Will has got a really good track record to technical SEO. So Will does a lot of freelance. We recommend people to him that want freelancers. So I'm really interested in actually, because I've kind of got my React knowledge from like working with Also Asked and stuff, and seeing some of the issues it can cause even when you're quite experienced, and knowing these things can be greatly beneficial if you know them from the beginning. Like when you work with platforms, for instance, okay, when I work with Magento 1, if you set up a redirect, I know by default they're all 302 redirects, for instance. When like Shopify came out, they fixed a bunch of stuff, but you couldn't edit the robots.txt originally, and it still creates canonical issues if you put the same product in multiple collections. So knowing all the nuances that come in the box with different platforms, with different technologies, just speeds up your SEO and stops you making bad recommendations in the first place. So I'm excited for that, because I imagine Will's got a lot better specific knowledge around React components than I do, so it will be one I'm catching.
Awesome. Yeah, I've not seen Will speak. I
have actually.
Oh, really?
And
Nice.
this is, don't take offense to this, Will, if you see this. So Will's like a really just like chill person to speak to, right? He's like quite, I'd say, fairly reserved. And I saw him talk at actually a Search and Stuff meetup in London and saw him present. And he was honestly one of the best speakers I've ever seen in terms of his presentation skills.
How would you take that the wrong way?
because it sounded like I was going to say that, oh yeah, I chatted to her and I assumed he would be crap.
Yeah.
I just didn't, the energy, and like he was really funny as well. And like when I talk to him normally, he's like not funny at all, right? It's
okay,
just,
now
like,
take offense.
Yeah, I joke. But no, his talk was so good, the presentation, and it was really entertaining. So Will's set himself a high bar. Now he could tell me he's probably talking about anything and I would have picked him on there just for that. Because that's a really important thing, I think, when you're doing talks, is it's a big part to be entertaining with your message as well.
Yeah, I definitely gravitate towards a lot of those kind of speakers. People like Luke Carthy we mentioned earlier, people like Myriam, who have that ability to talk about really technical, specific stuff, but also make you laugh. And funnily enough, Will is one of those people I've never actually met. We have nearly crossed paths like half a dozen times. And every time it's like, oh, sorry, I just missed you, mate. Sorry, I just missed you, mate. So hopefully I will catch up finally meet Will in Brighton. That would be nice.
We'll make it happen. He'll be about Thursday.
Oh, nice. Cool. Yeah, we'll see him around. And last...
Who's your final shout?
My final shout, we're back to AI, I'm afraid.
Okay.
But
it's okay.
Somebody who I want to hear talk about AI and machine learning a lot is Lazarina Stoy.
Again, I predicted
you did.
that Lazarina would be on your list, which is why I took Lazarina off my list.
Yeah, Lazarina, for those who don't know, runs a community called Machine Learning for SEO. Really good like training and conversations and all that kind of stuff. And he's one of the people I feel like I've learned the most about machine learning stuff specifically. And this is, funny enough, called AI-powered and ML-enabled semantic keyword research for the AI era. This talk explains why semantic keyword research outperforms strings-based methods by clarifying what modern semantic search means, such as entities, context, and intent, and why static keyword lists aren't enough. We'll run through core concepts in practice, query understanding, paths and augmentation, user behavior and content signals, SERP interpretation and intent, and show how Google and AI search apply to them. And there's even a few more bits there as well. There's a workflow and a bunch of other stuff in there as well. And yeah, I feel like Lazarina is one of those people, whenever I see a LinkedIn post like, oh, Lazarina's on a podcast or something like that, I pay attention because I'm probably going to learn something. And I don't think I've actually seen Lazarina speak in person.
I have. Very good.
Yeah.
Very practical. Gave away loads of sheets as well that people could just go off and use.
Yeah. I think Lazarina's really good for that. I know I've seen her talks online, but I've never seen in person. And like you said, have a lot of like worksheets, workflows, download this and you can go and start using it today kind of thing, which I think is really interesting. Almost like obviously it's like a lead generation thing kind of, and you stick in the memory there. But for a lot of these kind of AI workflowy kind of things, actually having a template to go in straight away and just have a play around with, as we've talked about many times before, being able to experiment and play around with stuff makes it stick out in your brain so much more than just, oh yeah, that sounded cool, I probably should look that up later or whatever. Actually having it there and then, and if you have your laptop with you or you're making notes on your iPad or whatever, then you can start doing it straight away. It's always really, really cool.
So that's Lazarina's thing. If you don't know, on the ML for SEO website, there's a whole bunch of like courses you can do. Yeah. There's some free stuff as well, some tutorials, and there's a whole Slack community you can ask questions to as well. And Lazarina's there and super, super knowledgeable. Yeah.
Definitely.
Good resource to check out.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, there's 10 talks at Brighton SEO you can go and check out. Of course, I'm there as well. On the Thursday afternoon, I'm on at 3:20 p.m. And my talk is Zero Click and the Future of Content Creation when there are no clicks. And yeah, I'll be talking about publishers and content creations and how you can basically survive the era of zero click that we're entering as we speak. I'll also be moderating on Friday morning in Auditorium 2. There's some really cool speakers there.
You're busy.
Yeah. Live
I'm
podcast
just going to be hanging around.
Well, a live podcast on the Wednesday, speaking on the Thursday, moderating on the Friday. Going to be busy. But yeah, should be fun. I think it's going to be a lot of, like you said, a lot of busy stuff to do, but it should be a nice kind of like in between those moments, hopefully some nice chance to catch up with a lot of people and meet people I never met before. Hopefully I'll finally meet Will Kennard, fingers crossed, and things like that. I think it's a nice like vibe at Brighton. There's always a lunch or a dinner or a in-betweeny talk thing to go to or whatever. There's always cool things to do. Or diving in the sea like you often do.
Yeah. I was surprised when we looked before the podcast that it's like the second warmest month, October, in the sea. So I wasn't going to go this time, but
I accidentally convinced you.
Maybe I can just go for a swim again this time.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Maybe.
We'll see.
You'll see if you can recruit your swimming buddies.
Yeah, Brighton Swim Club. Hit me up. We'll do it.
Yeah. In the meantime, Mark, thank you so much for joining me. Where can people follow you? Is there anything you're up to at the moment? Anything you want to talk about, share, promote, anything like that? Or just
I don't
SEO
think
tips
so.
and,
Just
and
my
core
usual.
updates
Yeah,
stuff?
just my usual. Come hang out with me on LinkedIn. That's the place to be, apparently, now. Yeah, no, nothing in particular, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, just for the vibes.
Just the vibes. Like I said, on Monday, the usual episode will come out with Yordan talking basically kind of similar to his talk coming up at Brighton SEO. And then from Tuesday onwards, it's all going to be Brighton SEO stuff. So I'll be posting some stuff on the social media. There will be plenty of videos and clips and bits and pieces we'll do throughout the days there as well. And yeah, we're going to be there the whole time.
You're going on the SEO Brain podcast, I heard.
I am,
today,
yeah. Yaron and Martin spoke to me the other day. They haven't sent me the invite officially yet. But
well, I did a mastermind session with their community this morning, and they said, say hey to you because you're going on the podcast.
Cool.
So take that as confirmation. It's fine.
Cool, I'll take that. And yeah, plenty of cool stuff. If you're going to be in Brighton, come and say hello. We'll probably be wearing also asked stuff, hovering around, and yeah, hopefully see you there. Thank you for joining us on a bonus extra episode on a Friday, and we'll see you hopefully in Brighton next week.
Thumbs up.